Making a choice between keeping a job and providing for a child, for example, should not be a situation that any worker is facing. Making a choice between going to work and putting yourself in harm's way should not be something that any family should have to experience. But this is the experience right now of grocery store workers in Seattle.
Congratulations to members of UFCW 21 and the labor movement who have organized, advocated for, and put forward this demand for COVID hazard pay. As we've heard from the union, grocery workers don't have an option of working from home. They are inside the stores for many hours a day, every day, around people who may have COVID. They've suffered high exposure rates to COVID. Many have gotten sick and many have died. The grocery workers deserve this extra pay, as do all frontline workers. Thank you to everyone who has written to my office and provided public testimony today.
I also want to express my deep appreciation and gratitude for the leadership and members of UFCW Local 21. They have been screaming from the highest points of any tower they could find, talking about the extremely dangerous conditions that their members and other non-represented folks experience every day going into their job that is at a grocery store. It is absolutely important to acknowledge that they have spent much time organizing workers in this space, that they have done a tremendous job in making sure that we as policymakers are hearing directly from impacted workers, from their members who've been exposed to COVID in grocery stores and have survived and are able to be in the fortunate circumstance of even sharing their story with us because they made it through the infection is remarkable. And I just really am deeply appreciative for their ongoing commitment to making sure that they're centering their members in making sure that policymakers understand why the policy choices we are making are so critically important.
You heard the story from Maggie, who testified during last week's hearing, and again this morning, where worker after worker testified about the hazard that they are facing every day. One person said, "I've come to work early every day, crying already shaking with anxiety over having to deal with unmasked customers and the worry of contracting COVID." One person said, "I didn't sign up to sacrifice myself to keep my community fed during the worst public health crisis in a lifetime when I originally took this job. But that's exactly what I'm being asked to do. And being asked to do this at the same pay I was making when the greatest risk last year before this COVID that I faced in this job was crossing the parking lot at the end of my shift."
Very excited to be voting for this legislation today and happy to be a co-sponsor. I just want to take a moment to lift up the great organizing work that UFCW has done to really get us to this point today. Like I said during briefing, I have seen the checkers at my local grocery store proudly wearing the swag for this campaign, proudly calling in, sending emails. And that solidarity, that organizing makes a huge difference. We may be the policy makers, but it's that organizing that helps get this policy over the finish line. So I want to first just thank all of the work UFCW and our other brothers and sisters in the labor movement have done to bring us to this point.
This hazard pay recognizes the essential nature of this work. It helps retain employees to keep stores running safely, and again, provides essential food chain workers with extra compensation that can allow them to afford childcare, deal with the physical and emotional health risks of the work, stay sheltered, or find housing options that could limit risks to family members and more. Different from other kinds of businesses, many of which were previously closed by order of the governor, grocery workers are the absolute essential workers whose companies have, again, profited handsomely from the shift in consumerism during this very difficult time.
I will enthusiastically support this and have asked to co-sponsor this bill. I think it's really important that it acknowledges that those who are putting themselves on the front lines every day should be compensated for the work that they're doing. Our ability to feed our families relies on grocery workers showing up every day to stock shelves and set up produce displays and check us out. But now they're also sanitizing carts and reorganizing the bulk goods and more frequently cleaning surfaces. I mean, they really are in uncontrolled environments and interacting with the public for most, if not all, of their shift. So I want to thank the good folks at UFCW 21 for advocating for these workers and for ensuring that they're paid for the extra work they're doing while they help keep our communities fed and help keep us healthy.
Unfortunately, we've seen in other industries and businesses that are less unionized or not unionized, like Amazon and the gig economy, workers who deserve similar COVID hazard pay being denied pay or being given some pay, not nearly enough, and then having it unilaterally taken away from them by billionaire bosses. It shows the difference of being organized in a union. I urge all frontline workers who are following this legislation to note that it takes organizing to win things like hazard pay. We never win as workers because of the kindness of the bosses or the political establishment. We win when we are organized. Most grocery workers in the Seattle area belong to UFCW. So collectively, they have a measure of power that is absent entirely when workers are struggling as individuals. That is why I urge all my fellow workers who are in jobs that are not unionized to form unions and fight for your rights collectively. It won't be easy. It is absolutely difficult. The history of the labor movement shows how organizing for a union in a workplace is against all odds, and it requires tremendous solidarity, courage, and self-sacrifice.
Council colleagues, thanks again for your comments today, your incredible deliberation of this important topic, and as Councilmember Lewis and Herbold noted, the way in which you all have stepped up to provide a much needed relief and support to frontline workers throughout this pandemic. This is one additional piece of the puzzle as we serve to protect the public, the broader public health, and to make sure that those frontline workers are having their workplaces respected, and that we are recognizing the hazard in which many of these frontline workers are facing every day. And we've acted with urgency here today. Really appreciate all of the work that you all have done and the expressed support from my council colleagues for your co-sponsorship. Again, thank you to Samantha Grad, Sarah Sharon, Joe Mizrahi, and President Faye Gunther for all of the work that they have done at UFCW 21 and the hundreds of grocery store workers who provided us with stories. I believe we received 800 emails in support of this legislation over the last few weeks. So thank you all for writing in.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119990?
Councilmember Lewis?
Aye.
Councilmember Morales?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosqueda?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sawant?
Yes.
Councilmember Strauss?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbold?
Yes.
Thank you. And Council President Gonzalez?
Yes.
8 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Congratulations once again, Councilmember Mosqueda, and congratulations to all of the members of UFCW Local 21 and all of the frontline grocery store workers who are hustling every day in our city to make ends meet and to make sure that we continue to have access to the food we need to continue to survive during the pandemic. I hope that this hazard pay goes a ways towards helping you survive this pandemic as well.